Walk down any grocery aisle or scroll through social media, and you will inevitably encounter the promise of a clean slate. Brightly colored bottles of cold pressed juices, specialized teas, and restrictive regimens all claim to flush impurities from your system. We are sold the idea that our bodies are inherently dirty, requiring expensive, drastic interventions to achieve true health. This multi-billion-dollar industry thrives on a fundamental misunderstanding of human biology, capitalizing on our desire for a quick fix. The reality is far more elegant and entirely free of charge. You already possess the most sophisticated, highly engineered waste management system ever conceived, working tirelessly beneath your right rib cage. Debunking popular detox myths begins with recognizing that no liquid cleanse can replicate or enhance what your body naturally achieves. The true hero of this story is the liver, a 3 pound powerhouse that silently performs over 500 vital functions every single day. Understanding liver detoxification requires us to look past the marketing and into the fascinating mechanics of this vital organ. It acts as the body's premier chemical processing plant, receiving 20% of your total blood supply every minute. As blood flows directly from the digestive tract through the hepatic portal vein, this organ acts as a vigilant border patrol. It meticulously inspects every nutrient, medication, and potential toxin you have ingested, deciding what to store, what to utilize, and what to destroy. This continuous filtration is not a passive straining process, but an aggressive, highly orchestrated chemical dismantling. When a harmful substance enters the bloodstream, the hepatic cells immediately recognize the threat. These cells contain specialized compartments designed to capture and neutralize everything from environmental pollutants to the metabolic byproducts our own bodies generate. The sheer volume of this daily purification makes any commercial cleanse look profoundly inadequate. But what if the very act of breaking down a toxin temporarily makes it more dangerous? This brings us to the first critical step of biological purification, known as Phase 1 detoxification. Here, a family of specialized proteins called cytochrome P450 enzymes takes center stage. These microscopic workers use oxygen to chemically alter fat soluble toxins, fundamentally changing their molecular structure. The goal is to make these stubborn, deeply embedded compounds slightly more water soluble, preparing them for eventual extraction from the body. The paradox of this initial phase is that it often creates reactive intermediates, substances that are actually more toxic and volatile than the original compounds. If the biological sequence stops here, these highly reactive molecules can roam freely, causing significant oxidative stress and cellular damage. It is a biological high wire act. The body deliberately creates a temporary hazard, relying entirely on the immediate execution of a second, neutralizing step to prevent internal chaos. That crucial rescue operation is Phase 2 detoxification, a process built on complex conjugation pathways. During this stage, the internal machinery attaches another molecule like a sulfur or an amino acid directly to the highly reactive intermediate. This chemical binding, known as conjugation, effectively neutralizes the danger. The once volatile toxin is now transformed into a safe, heavily water soluble compound, finally ready to be safely escorted out of the body. This microscopic relay race dictates our dietary needs in surprising ways. Phase 2 enzymes require a constant supply of specific nutrients to function, particularly amino acids derived from high quality proteins. When people attempt severe calorie restriction or juice only diets, they inadvertently starve this exact chemical pathway. Without the necessary protein blocks to bind to the reactive intermediates, a restrictive cleanse can actually impair your body's ability to safely eliminate toxins. True support for this system means providing abundant resources, not stripping them away. Consuming a diverse array of cruciferous vegetables, like broccoli and Brussels sprouts, supplies the body with sulfur compounds essential for these conjugation pathways. Antioxidant rich foods provide the necessary defensive shield to protect hepatic cells from the oxidative stress generated during the initial breakdown phase. We nourish the process by eating comprehensively, ensuring the biological assembly line never runs out of critical parts. Once a toxin is neutralized, it requires an exit strategy, which relies heavily on constant bile production. Bile is a complex, greenish-yellow fluid manufactured continuously by hepatic cells and stored in the gallbladder. While often associated only with digestion, this fluid is actually the primary physical vehicle for transporting neutralized, fat-soluble waste out of the internal processing plant. It carries the chemical remnants down into the intestines, ensuring they are permanently expelled. This dual role makes bile indispensable for both waste removal and nutrient absorption. If bile flow becomes sluggish due to poor diet or chronic dehydration, the entire elimination pathway backs up. Toxins that were successfully neutralized can linger, potentially causing localized inflammation and discomfort. Therefore, maintaining adequate hydration and consuming healthy fats are not just general health tips. They are mechanical requirements for keeping the body's internal transit system moving efficiently. Yet, to view this organ merely as a filter is to drastically underestimate its portfolio. Beyond waste management, it is the central hub for human metabolism, acting as the ultimate energy regulator. Every carbohydrate, protein, and fat you consume must eventually answer to this metabolic manager. It determines whether the energy from your last meal should be deployed immediately into your bloodstream or banked for future use. Consider the intricate dance of carbohydrate metabolism. When blood sugar levels spike after a meal, this organ pulls the excess glucose from the blood, linking the molecules together to form a dense storage carbohydrate called glycogen. Later, when you are sleeping or exercising and your blood sugar begins to dip, it carefully breaks down this stored glycogen. It releases a steady, life sustaining trickle of glucose back into circulation, keeping your brain and muscles fueled. The modern environment, however, places unprecedented strain on this elegant regulatory system. Our widespread consumption of hyper-processed foods, refined carbohydrates, and high fructose corn syrup forces the metabolic machinery into constant overdrive. When glycogen storage reaches its absolute maximum capacity, the body has no choice but to convert the relentless influx of excess energy directly into fat. This fat is then packed away within the very cells meant to process it. This chronic biological overload leads directly to non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, a condition rapidly becoming a global health crisis. Unlike conditions driven by excessive drinking, this disease is purely metabolic, quietly unfolding in millions of individuals who may rarely touch a drop of liquor. As fat droplets accumulate, they trigger an inflammatory response, slowly replacing healthy, functioning tissue with rigid, useless scar tissue. The progression of this condition is often entirely silent, presenting no obvious symptoms until significant structural damage has occurred. Medical research indicates that up to 25% of the global adult population currently lives with some degree of this metabolic fat accumulation. It is a staggering statistic that highlights the profound disconnect between how we feed ourselves and how our internal chemistry actually operates. The true danger lies in the noise of wellness misinformation that distracts us from these quiet realities. While influencers peddle expensive supplements to supposedly clean the blood, the real threat of non alcoholic fatty liver disease continues to grow unchecked. We cannot fix a fundamental metabolic overload with a 3-day tea regimen or a temporary fasting challenge. The solution requires a fundamental shift in how we approach daily nourishment and long term energy balance. Reversing this trend relies on the profound scientifically proven resilience of human biology. Because this specific tissue is unique in its ability to undergo true regeneration, early stage metabolic damage is entirely reversible. By intentionally reducing the daily influx of refined sugars and processed fats, we give our internal cells the breathing room they need to clear out accumulated fat stores. The strategy is not deprivation, but strategic, high quality fueling. Embracing a dietary pattern rich in complex carbohydrates, lean proteins, and healthy fats is the most effective intervention available. Fiber, found abundantly in whole grains, legumes, and vegetables, acts as a natural regulator, slowing the absorption of sugars and preventing severe metabolic spikes. This steady, predictable energy delivery is exactly what your internal processing plant needs to operate at peak efficiency without becoming overwhelmed. Exercise physiology also plays a critical, often underappreciated role in this recovery process. Engaging in regular cardiovascular and resistance training directly improves insulin sensitivity in your muscle tissue. When your muscles become more efficient at absorbing glucose from the bloodstream, the metabolic burden on your internal organs drops dramatically. Movement essentially offloads the work, allowing your primary metabolic hub to focus on vital maintenance and repair. Furthermore, we must become mindful gatekeepers of what we introduce into our systemic circulation. Chronic alcohol consumption forces the metabolic machinery to drop everything else to prioritize clearing the immediate toxin, halting fat burning and nutrient processing entirely. Similarly, the casual, frequent use of over the counter pain medications can tax the exact enzymatic pathways needed for daily maintenance. True health clarity means minimizing unnecessary chemical burdens so the body can focus on what matters. This understanding fundamentally transforms our relationship with our own biology. We move away from the punitive mindset of needing to aggressively scrub ourselves clean after a perceived dietary indulgence. Instead, we adopt a mindset of continuous, respectful stewardship. Every meal becomes an opportunity to provide the specific raw materials required by our internal enzymes, supporting a system that works flawlessly when given the right tools. The scientific reality of human biology is far more hopeful and empowering than any marketing gimmick. Your body possesses an astonishing capacity for self repair, driven by an organ that can regenerate its own mass even if significantly compromised. By aligning our daily habits with our actual physiological needs, we unlock a level of vitality that is sustainable, grounded in evidence, and deeply resilient. Ultimately, true well being is not found in a bottle, a restrictive cleanse, or a fleeting wellness trend. It is built quietly, day by day, through informed choices that respect the magnificent complexity of our internal chemistry. By abandoning the myths and embracing the real science of metabolism and detoxification, we clear the path to genuine health, allowing our body's brilliant, natural design to do exactly what it was built to do.